Hello everyone, this is Akash Chauhan, and in today's lecture we will discuss last two topics of Unit 4, the servlet, and those topics are HTTP servlet communication. It means how the servlet would communicate with each other. If URL would hit one servlet, then is it possible that servlet 1 can communicate with the servlet 2, or in another word, if servlet 1 can forward the incoming request to the another servlet, it is also called inter-servlet communication. And the second one is the HTTP session tracking. So how to track a session, HTTP session? As you know that HTTP is the stateless protocol. Then in those cases, how to track session? So there are three methods we will discuss in subsequent slides. So let's start with the inter-servlet communication first of all. So what is inter-servlet communication? Please read this slide carefully, and then we will discuss. You can pause the video and read the slide, okay? So the very first point is inter-servlet communication allows the servlet to transfer the information. So let's understand if there is a way, if we hit a particular URL, okay, and that URL would forward us to the another, let's say if we are hitting a URL and it is somehow performing a Java code over the server. Let's say the servlet one is that which is met with that URL, and further it would forward you to the Google. Okay, it means it is performing some Java code and then it is forwarding you to the another URL. It means and the optimized or the what to say what you have calculated over there, you are searching over the Google. Okay, the value you are searching over the Google at the end eventually in the second part. Okay, so it is saying that if you want to transfer some information to the another servlet or even the control to the another servlet, okay, so inter servlet communication has to be there. So there are two ways to achieve that. The first one is you use the request dispatcher. Okay, request dispatcher is a kind of interface that provides you two methods. First one is the forward and the second one is the include. We will discuss in detail. Okay, this is the brief about request dispatcher. And the second one, this is the second way. Okay, this is not a part of request dispatcher. The second way is to send a redirect. Okay, let's say you are performing some Java code, and in let's say 72 line you are adding this send redirect uh, method, and in that you are passing some URL. So it is saying that you have performed some Java thing, and then you are forwarding that servlet to the web browser. Okay, so let's understand these things in detail, but there are two ways to to have the communication between servlet. The first one is the request dispatcher, and the second one is the send redirect. So let's explore what is request dispatcher. Okay, so request dispatcher is an interface which would help us to have the inter-servlet communication. Okay, we can achieve the inter-servlet communication. Um, as I said that in request dispatcher we have two methods. The one is the forward and the second one is the include. So what is the role of forward and what is the role of include method of the request dispatcher? Okay, so the first method is forward. So forward means in one servlet, let's say you are hitting index slash index URL and it is mapped to some servlet one. Okay, the servlet one is then attached to a particular service class, and in that service class there would be a service method. Okay, so in that service method somewhere this request dispatcher dot forward method would be there. So and uh, request dispatcher dot include, these two methods would be there. The use of forward is when you simply you calculate some response in servlet 1 and then you move forward to the servlet 2, and you wouldn't come back to the servlet 1 and you simply calculate what is there in this servlet 2. Okay, and you can use the servlet 1 response as well, because you would forward this to the servlet 2 when you use forward method. And then at servlet 2 the servlet would perform some business logic over there, and then servlet 2 response will be forwarded back to the client. So the servlet 1 would only be the mediator, okay, in the forward case. But in case of include case, the servlet would include the another servlet. It means it would perform something, some logic over the in servlet 1, okay. I'll show you. And then it will move forward to the servlet 2, but again it will come back to the servlet 1 to perform rest of the task, and it will also use the response of the servlet 2 in the servlet 1, and then the response will be forwarded to the client from servlet 1. Okay, so there is a difference, we'll see. Okay, let's say this is the first method, the forward method, and in that we have forwarded some request to the servlet 1. Servlet 1 would calculate the response, okay, and then call this forward method. So this response will be then forwarded to the servlet 2. Servlet 2 would perform its business logic over there, and it will generate some response, and that response will be forwarded to the client. So the servlet one would be the mediator. So in case of forward, it will forward you to the another servlet, okay, and that servlet response will be forwarded back to the client. In case of include, let's say, in case of include, first the client would generate a request to the servlet one. Servlet one means your URL would perform some service inside the do get or do post method or inside the service method. So the servlet would generate some kind of response, but before generating the response, it would include servlet 2. It means it would send the include request, which would have the request and the response for the servlet 2, would perform something over the server regarding servlet 2, and then the response of the servlet 2, see, read this, response of the servlet 2 is included in the servlet 1 response. It means the servlet response 2 would be included in the response 1, and then optimized, or the what to say, the efficient response, including response 1 and response 2, will be then forwarded to the client. So this is actually include. What could be the the real life example of both of these request dispatcher methods? So let's say how to use it in our program. So when you want to use forward method and when you want to use include method, how to do that? You simply use request data implicit. This is the implicit object, okay. We have discussed this at the starting of our third unit or fourth unit. You can go to that lecture and see what is this implicit data, this object, and you can call this get request dispatcher. So you, and then you would store it into the request dispatcher, and then you can call the forward method with the request and the response. It will be forwarded, then this request and response will be forwarded to the servlet 2, and that servlet, inside this servlet 2, then the response will be forwarded to the client, okay. In case of include, what you do, you simply saying that, okay, uh, let's understand this include one with an example. Let's say you have a username and the password. So you enter the wrong username and the password, then it is job this of the servlet. It will reach to the servlet, and servlet will check, okay, this is not the correct username and the password. So it will forward you back to the index.html. In that case, what you are saying, that the servlet 2 here is not, is this the servlet, it is, what is this, is actually the servlet 3. Servlet 3, how it is happening, you are simply hitting this let's say, the index html index page is already there. Index page means the username and the password is there. So if you are, you know if you are entering the wrong username and the password, then it will redirect you to the, again, to this index page. So it will, first you enter the username, the password, and those username and the password would be cross checked in the servlet 1, okay. Let's understand this. So when it would check, okay, this is not the correct username password, so it will say, okay, you simply get the request dispatcher of this URL. Okay, what it means? It means you are trying to forward this servlet to the another map URL. Okay, it means you are trying to forward this to this URL. So what you do, you want to include this, you don't want to forward this, okay, because you want to share some message with the user that okay, you have entered the wrong name, wrong password and all, and you want to include the next page in that, okay, in the servlet, that servlet message, with that servlet message you want to include some another servlet or the index page. So the servlet is saying that okay, you have entered the wrong name and the password, and then you are including the page or the another servlet there. So here we are using the HTML index page, which would say, so eventually the result would look like, sorry, you have entered the wrong username and the password. And then again, below to this message there would be the index, and the index page entries would be there like username and the password. It is saying that in the same servlet, it is actually due to the servlet inclusion. Okay, so this is how you do the forward method and the include method. As I told you that we have two ways. The first one is the request dispatcher, in which we have two methods. So one is forward and the one is include. The second approach is the send redirect. Send redirect is more or less like a forward method, but there is a difference. In request dispatcher, you have to be inside the same project. But in case of send redirect, please read it out. You can even go to outside the project as well, outside the web application as well. HTTP servlet response. Okay, what do? You using the sub response, and then you are redirecting it to a particular web page. Okay, so what are you doing? You are saying that you are not restricted inside the project only. Send redirect, which is used to forward the request to the another resource, which is similar to the forward one, which may be inside or outside the web application, but this is actually the URL outside your uh, web application. So when you want to do that, what you do, you are saying that okay, end user, what you because this is actually the response. You are calling the method send redirect method of the response. It means it is saying that okay, whatever you have done in this servlet, perform it. Then at the end, you simply go to this URL. So what are you doing? You are going out of your web application. So when this is a case, you should use send redirect. But when there is a case of forward means you are forwarding it to the another servlet within the application. Okay, they are more or less similar, but just one thing that you are supposed to use forward inside the web application, but the send redirect you can use for general web link as well, like Google, Facebook, or Twitter. The second topic of today's lecture is the HTTP session tracking. Okay, so why this topic is included in our syllabus? There is a reason. There is a specific reason that HTTP is the stateless protocol. It means, let's say you hit Google for a particular query, and if you refresh it, okay, as you created a HTTP connection using the HTTP protocol and the HTTP reserved socket over the server. You build a connection for your first searching, okay, and then you refreshed it. It will again give you the same result, but there is a difference between first one and the second one is it will generate a new connection with the same server. Okay, so every time for each session there is a new connection that has to be there. That is why we say HTTP is the stateless protocol. It doesn't store the previous session data or previous connection data anywhere. Okay, so that is the problem with HTTP. That's why it is very lightweight and you can perform any heavy task with the HTTP stateless protocol as well. But let's explore this topic in detail. All these topics are theoretical, and I have to cover all these topics due to your theory exam. And for those theory exams, these topics, even for practical, I wouldn't say that these topics are important, but for theory exam, you should be prepared with all these topics. Okay, so let's explore what is HTTP session tracking. You can pause this video and read what is written over here. I'll dictate you what is written, but also with the content, I'll tell you what is the role of HTTP uh, and what is the role of session in the servlet. Okay, so the HTTP is the stateless protocol, as we have discussed, which means each time a client, okay, this is what we have discussed, automatically doesn't keep any record of the previous client request. Okay, so if we refresh with the uh, if we refresh with a connection, it means it will generate a new connection with the server with the same client but different connection. It means it will not have the cookies. It will not have the cookies is the part of the browser, but in case of HTTP protocol is not responsible for storing any information of the previous connection or previous state. So how to track a session? If it is not storing any information inside the protocol, there is no such cache or any memory to store the information, then then how to do this? With the help of web server, we can do that. We can have the information about the client if we can perform these tasks. So we have three ways. If we can use the form field, hidden form field, we can track the session if it is a new session or it is the previous session. Let me take an example. Let's say I have three devices for a particular website, let's say Facebook. Okay, and if I log in from my first device, and after half an hour I'll try to log in from the second device, it means from the first device there would have been a connection, a build connection between HTTP client and the HTTP reserve socket of the server. But with the different device, even though I am the same client, okay, but it will generate and it will expire the first session and it will generate a new connection. Okay, so the server would know that it is a new connection. That means the previous connection should be expired or there has to be a time limit on that as well. If you do the banking thing, you must be aware about that. For 5 or 10 minutes, if you don't perform any activity over your home page, then it will automatically session out. So it is with the help of web server we can track the session. Okay, we have three ways. The first is the if we can use the form hidden form field, we will see what is this. Second one is the URL rewriting, and the third one is the HTTP session object. So we will start from third, then second, and then first, because third and second is easy. First one, it is little complicated. So let's just start with the third one. Third is the HTTP session. So how to track a session? As you know, we have request and response in a servlet. Whenever we deal with the servlet inside the service method, we have request and response to implicit objects, if you remember. Okay. So even in, if you remember, inside the JSP as well, we have discussed that request and response, we can deal with those you know objects, because we don't need to define them. In case of servlet, it is the job of the servlet container to map those and create these the implicit objects. So this request and response is the parameter. You would find it inside the do get and do post. You would find request and response would be there. So I'm using the request of the do get or do post method. Let's say I'm inside the do get method and there is a request and a response, HTTP request and HTTP response. The name of the HTTP request is request and the HTTP response is response. So I'm using that request. Okay, I'm using that request and calling get session method. It means if the client would hit the this URL, it would come to this servlet, and when it would perform this request dot get session, it would forward you to the session detail. So in HTTP there is a object called HTTP session. With this we can create a session object, and we have different methods like is new, it is a new, we can put it inside if and else, and then we can find it is the new session or not. Or if it is the old session, we can find with this session what is the user ID, what is the password, what is whatever is attribute of this session we can set and we get. So this is how you find the detail of the session. This is the easiest way in case you are using the HTTP servlet. If this is the abstract class we have used to implement the servlet. The second one is the URL rewriting. So this is what we have discussed. Okay, URL rewriting means what you do. What if we can, the server can return a particular session ID for a URL. Okay, if the server can attach a particular session ID, let's say after 10 minutes, a new session ID will be generated for this particular client. Okay, so when the new session ID would come to the server, it would understand, okay, this is actually the old session has expired, and as because this is the recent one, the recent ID is attached with the URL. So what the server would do, server would generate the session ID after some constraint. Let's say after 2 minutes or 3 minutes, a new session ID will be generated, and it will append uh, after the URL, whichever the let's say if the user is hitting some URL, it will append that session ID for that session, and after 2 minutes that session will be expired, and the server would generate a new session ID. So with that, the server would have the record of the old and the new session ID. So this is what we have discussed. It is written over here. You can read it out. We will come to the first one. First one is the hidden form field method. So this is a little complicated, but I'll try my best to make it simple. So what you do with let's say you have 10 web pages. Okay, so for each let's say 10 web pages, we have 10 web pages in written in HTML, or let's say JSP. 5 are in JSP and 5 are in uh, HTML. But all the web pages, okay, all the web pages would include form inside them. Okay, all the 10 web pages would include the form is the tag, okay, we use in the HTML format. So in the form, we have different inputs like username and the password. For another page, it would be some kind of primary key or database, a thing. So all the web pages would have different inputs inside the form. So inside the form, there is a hidden field. So in the HTML, if you type hidden, if you use the input as hidden, okay, it will not be seen over the your web page. Okay, it is just for the reference. So for each web page, okay, we have 10 web pages, and in all the forms we have included this input type inside the form. Hidden, it is hidden in the session ID, and for each web page you have different session IDs. Okay, so let's understand that I have logged in my project, and I am using a particular web page at a time, and I have left it over my system, and then I have gone for half an hour. Okay, and then what I'll do, I have then clicked over some I have clicked over some button which will be the another web page. Okay, which would associate the new the another hidden name session ID. It would be let's say 12346. Okay, so this 12346 would come to the server. It would understand, okay, the previous one uh, was 12345, and now it is 12346, and after 30 minutes I got this value. It means it is the new session, it is not the previous one. Okay, so with that, the server would calculate all these things. Okay, this is the new session, or this is the old session. Okay, so this is what I have discussed over here. Web server can send a hidden HTML form field along with the unique session ID. For each web page or HTML page, there would be a unique ID attached to it. Okay, so let's say if this id for this id, if you are there for 25 minutes, the session will expire. So with all these details at the server side, server can track all these records, because at the browser we cannot rely over the cookies, or the browser can store all these information in the cache, and the cookies, the server cannot rely on that. So the server can track if this is the previous client, or this is actually with the new session, the another client. Okay, so this is actually to know how to track a session. or you can read it out what we have discussed. I have written what we have discussed. Okay, so in today's lecture, we meant to cover inter-subject communication and HTTP session tracking. How to do that? We have three ways, and inter-subject communication we have two ways. The request dispatcher and the send redirect. Request dispatcher is further divided into forward and include, and the send redirect is when you want to forward it to the outside your application. HTTP session we have three ways. When you use the HTML hidden form field, second one is URL rewriting, and third one is HTTP. uh, HTTP, what was that? Yeah, the HTTP session. Okay, so this is all for today's lecture. If you have any doubt, you can comment down below to this video, and thank you so much, and have a good day.